For Daily Ask Reddit. Babysitters of Reddit, was there a time you had to call the police on the parents of the child you babysitted, so what happened? My mom ran a day home when I was 5 or 6. One of the kids, who was a few years older than me, kept trying to play a game with other kids where they get naked under the covers. He also kept crapping his pants. Like every day. My parents talked to him about it and wound up calling the equivalent of Child Protective Services on the parents. It turned out his mom's new boyfriend was molesting him basically every day. It broke my parents' hearts. I'm not sure what happened to him after that. I hope he's doing okay. Edit. My mom stopped running her day home after that and went into teaching adults. She had a master's in early childhood development, but says she couldn't bear to be the caretaker for children anymore. Having to tell that boy's mother what she suspected was happening broke her a little. Don't know if this counts, but I used to work at a summer camp when I was a teenager. About once a week we would all walk down the street to the community outdoor pool. There were 2 girls, 5 and 8, who were very shy and stuck to themselves a lot. We only had them for about 3 days at this point. I tried to include them in games, but it was like they didn't see anyone around them and just lived in their own bubbles. One day when we were getting ready to go to the pool, I was helping some of the younger kids put sunscreen on their backs. I remember asking the younger girl if I could help her and she nodded. When I lifted up the back of her shirt to get her shoulders, she was absolutely covered in bruises and what I guess were cigarette burns. Every inch of her back. It was the most horrifying thing I'd seen at that point in my life. I was 16 myself, so I went to my boss and showed her the girl's back. Her older sister was exactly the same. We ended up calling the police and they came and got the girls that afternoon. The shape of the bruises almost looked like whip marks, like they were whipped with a belt, until it left insane bruises. It was so sad. Never saw those girls again. Yes, she had baby formula next to a meth pipe on the counter. I was young and couldn't get the baby to stop crying, so I called her and she sent some random girl over. The random girl revealed that there was a toddler asleep in the back that I didn't know about. I told my mom and she called CPS and the cops. Turns out the woman had like 2 or 3 more kids that she wasn't allowed to see. When I was young, my babysitter had to call the police twice. Once because my mom, who had limited visits with us 3 kids, came banging on her door to get us and take us who knows where. Babysitter hid us in a closet and called the cops. Second time was when we were playing hide and seek in the apartment courtyard and my brother took hide and seek a little too seriously. He refused to come out from his hiding spot and then some person said they saw him leaving with a strange man. Finally, after the cops showed up, he came out from under some bushes proud that not even the cops could find him. I didn't exactly call the police myself, but I was once babysitting for a single mum who had a 3/4 years old. She was at a strange stage of life, but was essentially house sharing a council estate type house with a single dad. They weren't involved together, just housemates. He had 2 kids as well, 6 and 8 approximate. This guy was around while I babysat because I guess they had an agreement that they didn't look after each other's kids. He was nice and offered me food, although I'm pretty sure he was a bit of an alcoholic. At about 10 PM the mum of the 2 kids turned up, off her head drunk or high, and just starts to scream and shout at the dad. She's ranting and raving about something or other and hitting him, acting like an actual maniac. She was completely crazy. I just grabbed the 2 kids that I wasn't babysitting and took them into the room with the girl I'm babysitting to shelter. The mum keeps at it for a while until the dad eventually manages to shut her in a room and calls the police. They came and dealt with it. I gave a statement and that was that. It was really sad because the 2 little kids acted as if it was no big deal and they were used to it. I was pretty horrified. I didn't go back. I've been babysitting since I was 12. Worked in daycare and I'm currently a nanny. I have called the police on a family I babysat twice. I've also filed a couple of CPS reports, but in my experience those didn't go anywhere. First time I called the police was because the child's mother didn't come home. She was supposed to be home by 1 am, but just never came back. Parents are late a lot, so it wasn't that big of a deal until the sun started rising. Grandma picked up the baby and the cops found mommy passed out drunk by some bar. She did not hire me again. Second time was because when I was changing a diaper it was clear the toddler had been silly assaulted. I'm not going to say how, but it was obvious. I almost think her dad wanted me to see because he was still there when I called the police, and it was just so obvious. It was a total shit show. Unfortunately the child's mother got custody, even though she definitely enabled the behavior. Dad was arrested at least.